NFL free agency is in full swing, and teams are wasting no time making moves to strengthen their rosters ahead of the 2025 and 2026 seasons. One of the most intriguing developments of this offseason is how these early signings might shape the draft strategy of several franchises, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. One team just made a splash by signing a veteran quarterback to a one-year deal worth $21 million, with $10.5 million guaranteed. That's a significant investment, particularly when you consider that this same team owns the third overall pick in the upcoming draft scheduled for late April. It's the kind of move that raises eyebrows and opens the door to speculation. Does bringing in a proven signal caller mean they're shifting focus away from drafting a young quarterback like Shedeur Sanders? Or could they still keep that option on the table, perhaps eyeing another emerging talent like Cam Ward? Cam Ward has started to draw serious attention in scouting circles, and there's already a team within the same conference that's expressed interest in bringing him aboard. He's quickly becoming a fan favorite for the draft and could be a dark horse to climb up the board as April approaches. But circling back to the team that just inked the new quarterback, there's reason to believe they might not be all in on selecting a quarterback early. Based on what we're seeing and hearing, their front office might be reevaluating their draft board, recognizing that the available options at quarterback this year might not align with their long-term vision. That in itself is a huge development. It suggests a two-pronged strategy. Secure an experienced quarterback now to stabilize the offense and buy time while potentially setting sights on a deeper, more talented quarterback class expected in the following year. From what we know, next year's draft already has some exciting buzz, especially around names like Arch Manning, who is projected to be a major breakout. So, if you're that front office looking at the long game, maybe you pass on a quarterback this year and build your roster in other areas, banking on the opportunity to land a true franchise cornerstone under center 12 months from now. That way, you give yourself flexibility. Either the veteran you just signed rejuvenates his career and earns a long-term role, or you're in position to draft a top-tier quarterback when the talent pool is more robust. Meanwhile, using that third overall pick in a different direction becomes a very real possibility. One area that desperately needs improvement is their ground game. Last season, they managed only 839 rushing yards, a number that falls well short of expectations for any team hoping to compete deep into the playoffs. That kind of underperformance puts pressure on the front office to consider selecting a dynamic offensive weapon, whether that's a powerful running back who can change the pace of a game or a playmaking wide receiver who forces defenses to adjust their schemes. The key here is impact. They need a difference maker, someone who can instantly elevate the offensive production and open things up for whoever lines up under center. Of course, we can't ignore the idea that they might still surprise everyone and go after one of the top quarterback prospects anyway. There's always that wild card factor in the draft, and with so much smokescreen and misdirection during this time of year, it's dangerous to rule anything out completely. Still, if we're reading the tea leaves correctly, the signals suggest a pivot, possibly toward selecting a premier offensive player instead of forcing a quarterback pick that doesn't quite fit their timeline. And if they do pass on a quarterback this year and things don't pan out, they might find themselves in position to take another swing at the position next year. That kind of patience and foresight could pay huge dividends, especially with young stars like Arch Manning waiting in the wings. Let's not forget that fans are watching closely. Many are holding out hope that the team will finally get it right, and the anticipation is only building. For a team that has struggled to find consistency in recent years, this offseason represents a major turning point. They need to get this draft right, not just for immediate results, but to lay the foundation for the next era of football in their city. And that includes thinking about what kind of talent might be available next year if this season ends up being another disappointment. Imagine walking into the 2026 draft with a shot at grabbing a quarterback with superstar potential and pairing him with a top-tier offensive weapon already on the roster. That's a recipe for a quick turnaround, the kind that can reignite a fan base and change the narrative overnight. At the same time, there's an argument to be made for swinging big right now. There are several highly coveted prospects at the top of this year's draft, and passing on them could mean missing out on elite talent. If one of those players is still on the board when they're on the clock, would the temptation be too much to resist? Some draft analysts believe that the front office might target a game changer at another position, like wide receiver or offensive tackle, especially considering how thin their depth chart has looked recently. The lack of production from several skill positions last year was painfully obvious to even the most casual fans, so adding explosiveness to the offense feels like a logical move. Then there's the unpredictability of the draft itself. As much as teams plan and strategize, all it takes is one surprise pick ahead of them to throw everything into chaos. That's what makes this part of the offseason so exciting. Mock drafts are popping up everywhere, each with their own set of wild predictions. One scenario that keeps appearing is a team like Cleveland snagging a dual-threat quarterback early, which would ripple across the rest of the first round. They're a team in desperate need of a playmaker, and if they decide to go all in on a quarterback, that could shake up the board for everyone else. Another mock has one of the top 3 prospects slipping a few spots, creating a dramatic opportunity for a team picking just outside the top 3 to land an absolute steal. If that happens, we could see coaches and general managers making frantic last-minute decisions, trying to position themselves to capitalize on the chaos. And sometimes it's not about need, it's about value. There's also the storyline surrounding a particular offensive lineman who's been under the microscope recently. During his pro day, his arm length was measured at 33 inches, a slight increase from his earlier measurement at the combine, which came in at 32 and 5/8 inches. It might seem like a minor detail, but for scouts and general managers, every measurement matters. And what's even more compelling is the player's response to the skepticism around his arm size. He hasn't let the noise distract him. In fact, it seems to be fueling him, pushing him to prove that he can dominate at the next level regardless of what the tape measure says. He's projected to go in the top 10, and if he lands with the right coaching staff, he could become an anchor on the offensive line for years to come. All of this underscores just how wide open this draft really is. Sure, there are some clear frontrunners, but beyond the top pick, it's anyone's guess. And that's what makes this time of year so fascinating. Teams are weighing immediate needs against long-term plans, trying to find the perfect balance between risk and reward. Every move they make now could set the stage for what happens not just this season, but for the next 5 to 10 years. And as always, fans are along for the ride, analyzing every rumor, every signing, every mock draft, and trying to piece together the puzzle of what their team's future might look like. As the countdown to draft night continues, another layer of drama is unfolding. Teams are scrambling to finalize their draft boards, but uncertainty remains, especially around the second and third picks. There's a growing feeling among insiders that the number 1 overall selection is more or less locked in, but things get far murkier after that. The second pick seems to be drifting between a couple of highly touted prospects, and the third pick, that's where things could really explode. Because if the team holding that slot decides to go in a completely different direction, it could change the outlook of the entire top 10. It all hinges on one simple question. Do they take the best player available, or do they try to fill a specific need? Let's imagine for a moment that they pass on a quarterback and instead grab a skill position player. Someone explosive, someone who stretches the field and gives defenses nightmares. That's the kind of move that sends a message. It says, we're not rushing this rebuild. We're laying down the foundation now, and we'll find our quarterback when the time is right. But it also puts pressure on the current starter or the newly signed veteran to deliver at least enough to keep the team competitive while the front office plays the long game. Because let's be honest, in today's NFL, patience is a luxury few teams can afford. Owners want results, fan bases are vocal, and the media dissect every move. What's fascinating is how quickly things can shift based on perception. Just 1 year ago, a player slipped into the top 10 in what many called a shocking pick. Most people didn't see it coming, and yet here we are 12 months later, and that same player is now seen as a future cornerstone. That's the nature of the draft. It's unpredictable, sometimes even chaotic, and it forces front offices to walk a tightrope between trusting their evaluations and reacting to the board as it unfolds in real time. Another aspect that's flying a bit under the radar is how teams are viewing positional value this year. There's an undercurrent of chatter suggesting that some franchises might prioritize offensive linemen earlier than expected. And in a draft where quarterbacks aren't blowing scouts away, that could lead to a run on trench players in the first 10 picks. After all, protecting your quarterback, whoever he may be, is just as important as finding the right one. You can't develop a young passer if he's constantly running for his life. That's why a guy like the aforementioned defensive tackle, the one who gained a little attention for his arm measurements, is suddenly moving up draft boards. Teams are realizing that if the top quarterbacks aren't slam dunks, maybe the smarter play is to build from the line out and take another swing at quarterback next year. And let's not forget the wild card in all of this, trades. There are always a few teams lurking outside the top 10 who are ready to pounce if the board breaks their way. Maybe a quarterback they love starts to slide. Maybe a defensive superstar falls into unexpected territory. All it takes is one phone call, and the whole draft landscape shifts. The idea that the third overall pick is safe in its current home? Don't bet on it. If the right offer comes through, we could see a blockbuster move that reshapes the rest of the night. And honestly, that wouldn't be all that surprising. The groundwork for these types of deals is already being laid behind closed doors, and draft day is when the fireworks go off. Meanwhile, fans are playing general manager from their couches, firing off mock drafts, debating picks in online forums, and hanging on every insider update. That's the beauty of this time of year. It's not just about the teams, it's about the community, the passion, the obsession. Everyone has a theory, everyone has a favorite prospect, and everyone thinks they know what their team should do. And maybe, just maybe, they're right. Because when draft night arrives, it's no longer about projections. It's about decisions. And every decision comes with consequences, some immediate, others that unfold over years. There's also this quiet buzz around teams trying to uncover the next big thing. Scouts are digging deep, looking beyond the top names, hoping to find a hidden gem in the later rounds. That's where championship teams separate themselves, by hitting on those third, fourth, and fifth round picks. Because while the spotlight shines brightest on the first night of the draft, it's the depth of a roster that wins in December and January. And there's no shortage of intriguing talent flying under the radar this year. Receivers with blazing speed, linebackers with freakish instincts, and even a few quarterbacks who might not be ready now, but have the tools to develop into something special. Of course, there are also risks. Every draft class has its busts, its can't-miss prospects who somehow miss. That's the gamble of this process. No matter how much tape you watch, no matter how many interviews and evaluations you conduct, there's no such thing as certainty. Injuries happen. Schemes change. Players who dominated in college sometimes struggle to adapt to the speed and complexity of the NFL. And that's why fit matters just as much as talent. A player's success can depend entirely on landing in the right environment, with the right coaches, the right system, and the right culture. It's not just about ability. It's about opportunity. So as we inch closer to draft night, the big question remains, who's going to make the bold move? Who's going to take a chance, zig when everyone expects them to zag, and come out looking like a genius? We'll be the team that just signed a new quarterback and might now pivot away from a first-round signal caller? Will it be a team willing to trade up and shake the board? Or will it be one of the franchises quietly building a rock-solid foundation and waiting for the perfect moment to strike? We're about to find out. But one thing's for sure, the decisions made in the coming weeks will echo for years to come. Whether it's drafting the right quarterback, finding a dominant offensive lineman, or uncovering the next breakout star, this draft holds the key to countless futures. And as fans, analysts, and insiders, all we can do is watch, speculate, and get ready for the ride. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rumors have been buzzing, but could it really happen? Fred Warner, the standout linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, is rumored to be on the New England Patriots radar. Known for his aggressive playmaking and unmatched leadership on the field, Warner has earned recognition as one of the NFL's best defensive players. With the Patriots looking to build a stronger defense, could the 27-year-old be the piece they need to return to dominance? Warner's 2023 season was nothing short of spectacular. With 132 total tackles for interceptions and 2.5 sacks, he proved himself as a versatile force, capable of disrupting any offense. His performance in Week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys, where he racked up a sack, an interception, and a forced fumble, earned him NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. His ability to make game-changing plays could be exactly what the Patriots are missing in their defense. The Patriots, however, face a significant challenge if they want to acquire Warner. His current contract with the 49ers, coupled with his status as one of the best linebackers in the league, means the 49ers aren't likely to let him go without a fight. The Patriots would have to make a major offer, perhaps a trade that could shake up the league. With New England's focus on bolstering their defense, could they offer a package that the 49ers can't refuse? If Warner were to join the Patriots, his impact could be immediate. The linebacker's versatility and leadership would elevate New England's defense, which has been looking for that game-changing player since the departure of legendary figures. Imagine the havoc Warner could cause alongside players like Matthew Judon. Opposing offenses would surely find it harder to maintain any rhythm when facing such a dominant linebacker duo. As trade rumors swirl, the potential for Warner to leave the 49ers and sign with the Patriots adds a layer of intrigue to the NFL offseason. Patriots fans are eagerly awaiting updates, while 49ers fans hope their star linebacker will stay. The next few months could be pivotal for both teams, and only time will tell if this blockbuster move comes to fruition. Stay tuned. This is far from over. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.